Hi and thank you for joining me. I am Sophie from Sophie's Flower Company. Today I'm going to show you how to do a autumn hand-tied, a front-facing autumnal hand-tied. So first off, I'm just going to have a quick run through the ingredients that we've got to make this beautiful hand-tie. We've got mixed foliage here. We've got eucalyptus, pistache and Poplus eucalyptus. We've also got some leucos. These are really fab, long lasting. They also dry quite nicely as well. A little bit of grass for interest. We've got some red Asiatic lilies, green Lisianthus. We've got Dorcas Ami. We've got buttercup roses. A couple of gorgeous orange-headed chrysanths, some agapanthus and some crocosmia seed heads. So first off, I'm going to prep the stems. A lot of these I've already prepped so that you can just whiz through this video. Prepping the stems means taking off any of the leaves that are going to sit beneath the binding point. The binding point is the bit where we tie off the design and where we hold it. So no leaves beneath that. So all of these have been pre-prepped. These are crocosmia seed heads. I'm going to strip these down here. The reason that you get rid of anything that's damaged is because it will make your water dirty and it will increase the bacteria in the water, which shortens the vase life of all the flowers. So it's really important that you remove anything that looks really dead and dodgy. So crocosmia at this time of year, it was a late summering flower, and then this has been left to go to seed. So again, really interesting and will last a long time because it will dry in the vase. So I'm going to start by making a frame. I'm going to take 3 pieces of foliage. I'm going to do this in my right hand. I'm going to teach you a technique called spiraling, which you can still use even as a front-facing arrangement. So I'm going to cross them over. I'm taking with my left hand, tapping on my right shoulder and making a cross. And then I'm going to do the same again with this one. And I'm going to keep adding. So the more I add, they then create a spiral shape. Quite difficult to see at the moment. Now I've got this framework. I'm going to add some leucodendrons. Again, making a T shape and bringing it down. Making a T shape and bringing it down. So that all my stems are facing the right direction. And then I twist every so often, I twist a third. You can see I've got my leucos in there. This I think is going to be my front, so I can start pulling these up and dropping these down. Keep your hand quite loose in your grip because then you can adjust. You don't want to be holding it really firm and you'll get cramp as well. So now I'm going to add a couple of Lisianthus. These Lisianthus are sitting in between the leucos. This is becoming the back of the design, so I'm going to bring everything up a little bit higher. Some Dorcas Ami. What I've got here is some varying textures. So you can see that I've got the lovely fluffiness of the Dorcas Ami against the smoothness of the leuco. You can add flowers into the centre of the design by loosening your grip and giving a bit of a shove down there. Now I'm going to add some more foliage. Again, the same principle to maintain that spiral shape. As you can see, I'm bringing these bits at the front down a little bit lower. So that gives the chance for all the blooms to have their faces seen. Gorgeous chrysanthemums. I'm going to pop that way around there. These are buttercup roses, really beautiful. You can see why they're called buttercup. Just going to add a few more leaves in. I'm going to twist my hand around so I can add some more at the back. So because it's a front-facing design, it doesn't have to be necessarily all in perfect threes. You are encouraged to work in odd numbers for visual balance within floristry. But sometimes you can get away with breaking the rules, especially if it's a front-facing. So I've got a bit of a gap here. I think I'm going to add a lily. So think about how these flowers are going to look when they really open up as well. This lily wants to have space around it, so when it opens up, it's not going to cover up any of the other flowers. And I'll pop this guy at the back, up here. It's looking a little bit, I'd say, quite full, quite blocky. So I want to add a bit of movement to it. I'm going to add some more foliage to the front here. Lovely bit of grass, that's going to add a bit of texture and a bit of softness as it wafts above the blooms. Waft, that's a nice word, isn't it? There we go. This Crocosmia is going to add a bit of structure. So I think we're going to take that colour up there, and then you can see that that's already picking up the orange. I might just pop him behind there. And then a little bit more down the front. So everything beneath my hand has got no leaves on it and is clear stem. So this is my binding point here. I love how that Crocosmia really is popping now against that chrysanthemum. A little bit of Agapanthus. And down the front. Yeah, that's lovely. Bringing light to that. And one up here at the back. Just going to lay this down. If your hand tie starts to get too heavy, you can always rest it at the binding point on your worktop. We do that with larger bouquets, especially if you're doing like 100 rose bouquet or similar. I'm not entirely happy with that. So what I'm going to do is that leucodendron's dropped out so you can see. Okay, it's looking a little bit blocky now, so I'm going to start pulling bits up, giving everything a little bit of room to move. And also, once you've tied it off as well, you can still give it a good jiggle. Have we got room for another lily? Yeah, why not? Let's go at the back. So I'm just going to take it and spin it around here. When you're tying off, it's really good idea to have the woodier stems on the outside. And the reason being is that the raffia can actually go through softer stems. So for instance, something like Dacus ami is quite fleshy, so it can often snap the bits like that. Tulips, when they're in season, they have a tendency to be snapped when tied too tightly. Okay. Good, right, that's nice and heavy. I'm just going to lay this down here whilst I tie it off. So I've laid it down to tie it off. I'm just going to put that underneath. I'm going to go round a couple of times over my thumb. Now I've gone tight, but I've not gone completely rigid. The reason being is I want it to be able to move when it's in the vase. So I'm just going to double knot that. Before I snip the stems, I'm just going to show it up to the vase. So I've got a vase ready here. I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to cut it too short. So these ones are going to have to come up. Remember, when you're cutting your stems, you must always cut at a really sharp angle. And the reason that we do that is so we have the largest surface area possible on the stem so that the water can keep the stems hydrated. Right, lovely. Good stuff. You can see that there is actual movement in that bouquet now. I can allow it to fall out a little bit so that everything's got a lot more room to move. I'm going to pop it in my vase. There we go. And then once in the vase, I can adjust it, pulling bits up and down, making sure everything's in the water though. So I can see here, look, I haven't actually got the water level high enough. So I'm going to have to top that up, make sure everything's in water, and there we go.